both the defense and the prosecution are going to rest today in their final arguments in the Derek Chauvin case. Some of the images that maybe you saw of like cops surrounding a church where there were protests in Brooklyn Center over the Dante Wright killing were really disturbing. And I don't know when we'll get a Derek Chauvin ruling, verdict, but I imagine it could be sometime this week. But of all the people weighing in on the various killings of unarmed black men, and in one instance, I think, I don't know if they had commented on this, a teenager, a boy. Here is Pat Robertson of the what's his show again? I can't
700
remember.
Club.
700 Club.
It's inexplicably still on air.
Yep.
He is broadcasting still.
Yeah, God bless him. They're going to literally wheel him off that set.
Also, I'm going to say, I think a lot of people are thinking like I was, that both the gun and the taser would be put on your dominant side, but it's not that way.
Yeah, but they have to cross where they have them different.
So you actually have to reach across
Yeah,
yourself
but
to
you
get
feel
the
the
taser.
difference. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's definitely
there's just no
discernible.
comparison. As I say, they're not making tasers in this yellow color anymore. They're making in black. They're making them yellow. Now, how she made the
Insane
difference when
image.
she shot that poor guy to death, saying, "This is what I thought. I thought was my taser." And if you can't tell the difference in the feel of those things, it's crazy. Anyhow, she deserves. But I am pro-police, folks. I think we need the police. We need their servants, and they do a good job. But if they don't stop this onslaught, they cannot do this. The police in Virginia picked up a lieutenant in the Army and began to give him trouble. And our state police are highly trained. But why they don't stop this? And this thing is going on in Minnesota, but the Derek Chauvin, I mean, they ought to put him under the jail. He has caused so much trouble by kneeling on the death of George Floyd. It's just, on his neck. It's just terrible what's happening. And the police, why don't they open their eyes to what the public relations are? They've got to stop this stuff.
Maybe they need more training.
Yeah, maybe more training. But the public relations seems to be his concern as he trails off. But the initial prop usage was to demonstrate how the weight, the feel, the grip, the different sides where they're holstered, it's entirely different. And an officer who's been in the force for over, 25 years, as she was, should be able to tell the difference. And if you've lost Pat Robertson on this issue, I mean, come on. It's got to be, something's got to give at some point.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, look, there's two things about this clip. One is Pat Robertson, I think, maybe in that position now where he can sort of like almost see the pearly gates and realizes like, oh, wait a second, I may be taking a trip down instead of up.
I may have a legacy, yeah.
And so I might need to sort of build some points and extra credits before before I get into some type of judgment situation. But the what they inadvertently, I think, point out is that like you have all of these factors that that would have prevented the cop from doing what she did, which is you got to reach across your body, that it's made out of yellow, that it feels different, that undoubtedly after 20 years, she's had a lot of training at this. The problem is one of two things, or maybe both things. One is there is no amount of training that ultimately is going to prevent this. Humans are not capable of engaging in what they engage in, these police officers apparently, regardless of the type of training. If you give them all these weapons, and on top of that, you give them a sense that when they see black people, they are necessarily in like some type of heightened state that they are looking at, a potential enemy. And, we've had many people, military personnel calling in going like, we don't have rules of engagement like that when we're at war. We're not allowed to fire at people unless they're actively firing at us. We're just not allowed to. And so the bottom line is like, you need to have a structural difference. You need to not put police officers in this situation, not necessarily for their sake, but not necessarily not for their sake. You need to just say like, no more traffic stops by armed officers. There's no more opportunity for you to get arrested because your light is out on your car or your registration sticker is whatever. We're no longer using this as an opportunity as like some massive fishing net that supposedly is keeping society safe, because there's no evidence that it keeps society safe. There's a lot of evidence that ends up with a lot of dead people, innocent people, or people, who shouldn't be dead.
Yeah, and you heard at the end, the co-host suggests maybe they need more training. Okay, so this is a right-wing show. That is the right-wing position. Right. So when you hear Joe Biden or anybody else in the Democratic Party suggest more training, understand that that's wildly insufficient. Structural changes are exactly what Sam's talking about. Changing.
She was a trainer.
Policing.
She was a trainer.
Right. She was training officers at the time she did this, and she still didn't know the difference between her taser and her gun.
Right. And so, look, it's just, we have to continually narrow the scope of the responsibilities of police officers, period. And that's it.